Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners. Best Cord Cutting TV, Before It's Tax Preparation, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, Casa Samtonieta Ingielapa, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, John Boutique Hotel and Co-work, Monzon Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Owners Reps Puerto Vallarta, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. Let us get something out of the way. I just want to forgive my paranoia, but let's see. Boom, that button works fine. And aha. Where are you, weather? Don't do this to me. Hold on just a second. Primary. Da. Interesting. There we go. Okay, so we have weather, we have news, we have peace and harmony. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. It is a pleasure to see you on this Wednesday, September 24. It's schwitzy, but we expect it to be schwitzy. It's wonderful to be here with you this morning. I have all kinds of fun and interesting news to share with you. So I hope you're sitting comfortably drinking your favorite beverage. And we're going to get started with this. And as usual, capital letter Q if you have an important comment to share, capital letter N as in new if you'd like a nice little welcome because you're watching live for the first time. We'll look at your comments in a second. But first, the news. And this is great news. Support for affected families continues in Puerto Vallarta. Couple of days ago, under the direction of Mayor Munguía, the government deployed relief brigades to the Las Mojoneras and El Calvario neighborhoods to assist those whose belongings were lost after last weekend's storm. And following the heavy rains of the weekend here in Puerto Vallarta, the Municipal Emergency Committee met earlier this week to assess the situation. And it was reported that rainfall reached 140 millimeters in 10 hours. I don't know exactly what that means, but I do know that the damage could have been more severe had the dredging work not been carried out in a timely manner. And this was emphasized by Jose Juan Velázquez, who is the Secretary General of the City Council. And we saw a lot of photographs of this happening in the months preceding the rainy season. And I think this is a little relevant to share today because yesterday we circulated some information about Mayor Munguía being possibly suspended without pay for doing a shitty job in preventing the flooding. And as a matter of fact, that turned out to be false. Regarding this information, there is a procedure in which it's a legitimate administrative procedure that occurs every time a mayor takes office. There are lawsuits based on arbitration awards, meaning workers who were fired long ago from the city council go to labor court, and then they win, and then the municipality must pay them severance and compensation. Otherwise, administrative sanctions will be issued against the city council and the mayor. So what happened with Mayor Munguía is he probably needs to make a payment to some court proceeding that happened even before his administration. So it's not. It was false. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, I do have an unpleasant city bus update. Despite the supposed arrival date announced by the governor of Jalisco, the new buses expected to arrive at the end of September have yet to be seen on the streets of Puerto Vallarta. This has caused growing annoyance among residents because The situation has been complicated by the current traffic jams and the recent flooding, exceeding the limits of public patience. So now we learned something new. Transportation Minister Diego Monraz, he's the Transportation Minister for the state of Jalisco, reported that the arrival of the buses has been rescheduled for October, causing longer waits for Vallarta residents. And in addition, the new electric buses, which had already been requested, with um, which were supposed to arrive uh, sometime before the end of the year, will actually happen in January 2026. So, if I am understanding this correctly, the city buses that are supposed to arrive in September may arrive mid October, and the fancy longer buses that are all electrical and were supposed to arrive to travel only through Medina Asensio, which were supposed to arrive in December, may arrive in January of 2026. So, what can I tell you? I'm just sharing the information. Last in our block of news, Tropical Storm Narda has intensified, becoming a Category 2 hurricane. The good news is it's heading out to sea, but it is still close enough that it may keep things wet for a few days. Let's check in on the weather forecast to see if we learn something interesting. Da 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 da. See, now the weather forecast is gone again. Hold on just a second. I think my system saw that I came back from Guadalajara super happy and have determined that I am not going to have a comfortable. Ugh. Okay, so I'm just going to read you the news. My bad. Let's see. Pam, 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 pam. Okay, Snarky Weather says the rapture did happen. You all suck. Well, I did not get the rapture memo. I have no idea what the rapture is, if it's actually associated with the biblical rapture, or is this one of those things that emanates from the United States and you're supposed to know about just because, you know, just because. I don't know about the rapture. Oh, there it is. The rapture did happen. You all suck, says Snarky Weatherman. But I don't care about that. It is 30 degrees out there. Humidity is at 77%. Our weather forecast says that we're going to have mostly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 72%, a high of 32 and a low of 23. And then we're going to have rain in the morning tomorrow with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 86%, a high of 31, and a low of 22. Then Friday, mostly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 89%, a high of 31, and a low of 22. I'm getting reports that there's a lot of buffering on the broadcast. Thank you very much for that. I wish I knew what to do about it, but unfortunately, I don't, or at least there's not much I can do on my end. So hopefully, this is just something that is happening out there. And if you're having a lot of problems, we will deal with this. And you're always, of course, welcome to watch the upload on YouTube, which will hopefully be better than whatever it is that is being problematic out there. Before I forget, cancel that because I have forgotten already. No, wait a second. Let me see what I have here. Oh, yes, before I forget, just because this week has been kind of crazy and I didn't get a chance to put together any kind of promotional anything for this presentation that I am doing on Thursday. On Thursday, I am putting out my strange and wonderful hobby of collecting weird vintage musical numbers from the past. I'm putting that out there, compiling my selection of the funniest, weirdest, oddest musical numbers from vintage television, mostly United States stuff. And we're going to watch them just for laughs. Why not? This is going to happen on September 25th. It is hot. It is humid. If you need an excuse to be in a comfortable air-conditioned environment and maybe have a glass of wine or three, just for laughs may be the ticket for you. Um, and I wanted to remember that. Now, let's take a look at some of the things that I have scheduled here. Christ Church by the Sea has announced a blessing of the animals to take place on Sunday, October 5th at 4 p.m. The church is located within Plaza Genovesa in the hotel zone. Of course, you'll find information about this in the show notes today. Now, once again, you told me about a wonderful restaurant, and it took me a while to get there, but I finally went, and you were right. And this has to do with Canto in Colonia Emiliano Zapata. Wow, that was amazing. I went on Monday night with some friends to have lovely dinner, and clearly everything I've heard is true, even when I've only had one dish from the restaurant. I had orange chicken, and it was absolutely divine. My friend Julie lives less than a block away, and I keep thinking to myself, how could anyone live so close to such a wonderful eatery and keep us a decent budget? The place was packed and busy, not so much so that it would be that it was uncomfortable. It's a small restaurant, and it was full. It was full of people. Some people I recognized. I saw Diana of Diana's boat cruise, and she's supposed to be having an event on the second that I haven't researched. I ran into Juan Alvarado, with whom I wanted to share a hug and good vibes. And I think the gentleman who is the owner was there tending the bar and being busy. I couldn't connect with him, but he seemed like a very nice man. We just had a very brief exchange. And again, the food was absolutely wonderful. And probably what I enjoyed the most at Kanto on Monday is that great energy that you get in a small restaurant where there are enough people to make you feel that the place is alive, but not so many people that the staff was struggling. They were almost there, but everything about our time there was impeccable. The food was outstanding, and I'm dying to go back. And I don't have photos of the food, which is why I have to go back. But they do have a complete list of dessert martinis, and I could not help. This is a Canto pineapple upside down cake martini. It is house infused vanilla absolute vodka, pineapple, and a kiss of cherry, just like great grandma used to make. And I praised the owner on this cocktail, uh, and he confirmed that his great grandma used to make this. And I thought to myself, well, wait a second, aren't martinis like fairly modern drinks? What would a great grandmother know about martinis? I don't know the answer to that question. All I know is that I sipped pineapple upside down cake and got the benefit of getting a little whoopsie. So it was a great time. I totally recommend Canto, and I will leave their Facebook page in the show notes so that we can get excited about going. I also want to share some challenging news. Remember this? It's not going to happen. I've decided to cancel Feel Good Vallarta, which was scheduled to happen on October 11th. This was a challenging decision, and I'd like to tell you what happened. I completely underestimated the amount of time and work that it takes to connect with healthcare professionals and mention the possibility of them participating in this event. By the deadline in which we wanted to have announced 12 participants, we didn't have enough. So the event was not going to break even, and more than likely, there was a possibility that the event might disappoint some participants or some attendees. So rather than trying to put together an event that was not completely cooked and ready for serving, I decided to cancel the event. I immediately contacted the venue. I immediately contacted the two very important people that helped me move this event forward, one of them being um, our friend and community partner Stan Wagner, and also the wonderful um, Pam Thompson. I have renewed respect for Pam and all the work that she does in terms of creating nurturing connections between the healthcare community and the local population. And in fact, Pam is going to be at the spotlight this afternoon. We're going to talk about October being Cancer Awareness Month. So if anybody has any questions for Pam, you know, she is an amazing, very important person in our community. So if anybody has any important questions for Pam, feel free to write a comment that starts with the word Pam, and I will compile these and I will bring them to Pam this afternoon. If not, trust me, I have plenty of questions that I want to ask her. But back to Feel Good Vallarta. Um, it felt bad to cancel, but it would have felt even worse to put together an event that was not going to be as successful as I would have wanted it to be. And I thought, you should know. Last in the things that I want to share with you before our comments. Well, on Sunday, when we came back from Guadalajara, we had to go pick up a puppy, a dog, Lars's dog that was being looked after in Nuevo Vallarta. So we had to go to Nuevo Vallarta. And on the way back, I filmed the Las Juntas intersection and I noticed something very strange. I'm going to see if I can pause this video. So this is Highway 200 going south, approaching the Las Juntas intersection. And here we go. And there is the overpass or the bridge. And I'm going to stop right here. Oh shit. I couldn't make that happen. Okay, so I think I'm learning that I cannot pause this in the middle of broadcast. But what you're looking at is an overpass bridge that is only on one lane, the outgoing lane. So this made me wonder, this looks kind of puny. The bridge looks it looks skinny. So is it supposed to be one lane each way, or are they going to build the second half later? And look, the southbound travel does not have a bridge at all. So I thought it was kind of bizarre. And that is what's going on at the Las Juntas intersection. Later on, here is where Home Depot is on the left-hand side. And if you haven't seen any of this, this will shock you because it looks completely different now. You see, here we go. We're going around the corner and boom, there are the exits that go to the new highway. The one that would take you onto the highway from Points North is on the right-hand side. And then if you're arriving in Puerto Vallarta on the new highway and you're heading south, you would take this second bridge, which goes to the right-hand side of the road and then brings you heading southbound as it makes sense. So it's exciting to see that it's almost done. And I look forward, as many drivers do, to its completion. But I will say the actual bridge that goes over the Las Juntas intersection was completely bizarre to me because it looked skinny. We'll have to wait and see. Let's take a look at your comments and see what we have for today. I am getting, yes, thank you very much, Daniel. I got some reports that YouTube was better than Facebook this morning, so I'm glad it's not something I said. I see lots of good mornings. Thank you very much. Tim Bufford, our favorite tax related accountant from Canada, is here. If I was Canadian, I would talk to Tim about my taxes. Let's see. Am I the only one without sound? Oh, Vicky, I am so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry for those of you that were on Facebook. Again, this may have had to do with Facebook, and I'm glad that things were better on YouTube. For that matter, I'm glad that we broadcast into different places. And as I mentioned the other day, there is an advantage to watching on YouTube that we don't think about very frequently. When I post on YouTube, I always post the show notes as part of the YouTube video description. So you can find the show notes right then and there. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Let's see what else. Thank you, Cluster, for helping one another, finding a better way to watch this. I very much appreciate that. Brandy says, good morning, Paco, sending best wishes to all affected by the storm. I hear you, and I appreciate those, and I'm sure that those that were affected are feeling the vibe. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Right, Laura? Laura, who loves to collect restaurants. That cocktail not only sounds yummy, it was yummy. Let's see what else. Hand pink waving. This must have something to do with, I'm not sure, maybe with Breast Awareness Week, but I love pink waving hand. I love it. I love it. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Laura says, sorry to hear about Feel Good Vallarta. Healthcare is challenging at the best of times. Your heart was in the right place. You know, it was a combination, Laura, of it was a huge learning opportunity for me because it seems so straightforward and simple just a few months ago when we organized a volunteer fair, and just a few months later, I don't want to finger point at anyone or anything, but clearly I underestimated the amount of time, and I mean lead time, and the amount of daily time that it would take to get everybody on board. Good lesson, if I may say so. Laura says, will you let us know how you navigated by bus to Guadalajara? Well, what happened, as you know, Laura, is there was this big accident on the road. We just sat on the bus for 3 hours waiting for the authorities to remove the destroyed vehicles from the road. And finally they did. So we ended up traveling to Guadalajara, and it took us almost 7.5 hours to get there on the bus. We could have gone as far as San Miguel de Allende, I suppose, or León, Guanajuato. But again, thankfully, the bus was comfortable. I had great company and audiobooks and Dramamine, and I was able to snooze. We were fine. And of course, Guadalajara was lovely as always, and always happy to talk about Guadalajara because it's such a different place from Puerto Vallarta. I really hope that everybody that watches will at some point have a chance to visit our capital city. Such a beautiful place. Thank you very much for joining me today. This afternoon, I will be at the Joint interviewing Pam Thompson. I look forward to that. And if I don't see you there, I will see you back here tomorrow morning for more coffee, more headlines, and more stories. Have an amazing day.